Okay, Vicen 85. Play d4. Let's go with knight f6. d4, c4. Okay, hey, we're getting in a traditional Queen's Gambit, maybe. Well, let's see if I can get an Emzo Indian. No, he plays there. Okay, let's go for the Queen's Indian. And yeah, they've been playing this move. Well, that's actually old now. It's been played for quite a while. Asking how he wants to defend that pawn. And then giving this check. Oh, he blocks with the bishop. Usually they block with the knight, and then you like retreat the retreat the bishops after that. Oh no, that's right. That's normal. They block with the bishop, and then you retreat. And the idea is that this bishop is somehow not ideally placed there on the diagonal. So it's funny, those two bishop excursions, they go out and back. Anyway, but you didn't want to leave the rook exposed on the diagonal here either. So what now? That's about all I know about this opening. So we can look it up afterwards. But this looks like a very normal setup from white. Maybe d5 or c5 is a way to play it. Let's try c5 here. Just I want to play knight to c6, and I don't necessarily want to block the c pawn, so I like to get on this c5 move in a lot of cases. Okay, I'm going to take with the bishop and try and keep my pawns more or less together there. Pins my knight. Okay, I'm going back with the bishop. A lot of back and forth. I still haven't developed my knight, but now I can develop it safely, right? Knight to c6, and he hasn't got any pawns that can kick it right away. And I have to be careful I don't lose control of the d6 square. That might be a problem at some point. So I'm getting my last piece off the back rank, and then I'm going to kick this bishop with h6. And it'll either have to retreat or trade. So we'll see where his bishop wants to go. So I wasted some time with my bishops, but his bishop went to d7 and then out here, so it wasted a move as well. Okay, he just goes and trades now. Okay, that's interesting, because that does give away the d6 square. But white gave up the bishop pair to get that. Yeah, so if I play pawn to d5 right now, I will end up with an isolated pawn, I guess. I play pawn to d6, so he can just take it. If I do nothing, he'll play knight to d6, and that would be kind of annoying. So I'm going with d5. And I'm going to take with the pawn. I don't want to trade queens in this isolated queen's pawn position. I want to keep, I guess, material on as much as I can. Because in the endgame, this pawn is a weakness. And he's attacking my knight here. Yeah, he's threatening to take it. If I defend it, he can trade. So I should probably just trade myself. So now he's got two potential attackers, but I have two defenders. Let's lift the queen up off the back rank so I can connect rooks. I can play rook c8 without worrying about it, a trade, pulling my queen away from defense of the pawn here. And we'll see. Yeah, so I have the bishop pair, but I also have a weakness in the isolated queen's pawn, so a little bit of pros and cons in this position. He's got kind of a weak pawn here. Okay, he just did something about that. Yeah, the e2 pawn is kind of weak. I could have considered putting my bishop back on a6 on this diagonal, looking at the rook pinning the pawn. But he moved it ahead now. So what next? There's no way to chase this knight away. I can trade it, but I can't chase it away. I can contest the c-file. I was wondering which rook to move. That rook or this rook. I can't tell if it makes much difference. White has no weaknesses in his pawn structure here, so this is going to be a difficult game for me to make progress. And his knight is controlling the c2 square. But maybe I could trade off the knight and then enter on c2 with the rook. Okay, where's the knight? Oh, the knight is going to reroute to to f5, and he's going to add more pressure to this pawn here. So if I play the pawn forward now, he can take it. So let's see, I should put the rook here. And then when he plays knight to f4, if that's his intent, then I can push the pawn forward. Yeah, that's what he did. So pawn forward, he takes, I can take. Yeah, he can take my bishop. Maybe that's his idea. He wants to trade off and eliminate the bishop pair, but I'll get to eliminate the... I will get to eliminate my weak pawn. So it's a trade of weaknesses. And probably taking with the rook is the right way to do this. So this should be a pretty even position. I do have to be careful I don't get mated on the back rank, which maybe starts to threaten right away. Let's go ahead and give my king a little lift there. Take a few squares away from his knight. Then maybe queen to d2, doubling on the d file. Yeah. I don't see. I don't want to allow him to push that pawn forward. Yeah, so he's going to double too. This is. I wonder what kind of endgame this is going to be. Let's see. If he comes here with check, I take. He takes. Check. I step forward with my king. He plays his rook to c7 to hit my a pawn. I can push the pawn forward, and then I can defend this pawn with my bishop. It's not so great, but I can place my rook here and my bishop there maybe and defend that pawn and attack his pawn. Hard to say. Okay, let's start with this move. So he can force those trades now. And he does. Goes there. You know, his other idea is knight here, which I gotta respect. That's a problem. Knight to e6 check, taking advantage of the pin, forking my rook. Okay, so I check to gain a tempo. And then after he plays that check, say my king goes to g8, he can check here. I can actually block with my rook. So I think it's okay for me to push this pawn, try and save my pawns here. Okay, so he just goes after the pawn directly. It's my bishop. Oh, maybe he's tempting me to play bishop to D. And the check here doesn't work. I can take the knight, so there's no longer a check. And I wanted to play this move anyway, bishop d4. I want to gang up on this pawn here. So I want to play rook d7, forking those two pawns. He could try bishop, or yeah, knight. He could try knight to e2, hitting my bishop. Drop my bishop back. No, that's a good square for my bishop. That's okay. Oh, I wonder what his idea is here. He went into this endgame very confidently, it seemed to me. That was just the impression I had playing it. But this endgame doesn't seem to be much of anything for white. Maybe he's just good at endgames in general and likes to play them. Okay, so what should I do? Let's drop my bishop back. It's kind of blocking my rook. He brings his king out. Yeah, that's probably a good idea. So I can bring my rook back. The rook should be active, but what can I attack down here? Oh, I can attack his pawn. He can defend with the knight. Well, it's defended with the king and the rook too. I could bring my rook to this square. Maybe to bring it over to f3 to pin his knight, something like that. Might be a little bit of traction for me. Rook to f6 and bishop to d6 would pile up on the knight. Maybe I could exchange it off and create some pawn weaknesses over here. Yeah, so he just goes forward with the king. Yeah, I don't have an active plan here. I'm not sure what to do. If I come out with my king, he has a check, which could be annoying. And I could just go here. I don't want to allow him to activate his king too much. And if I were to check his king could have stepped forward to e5. So I'm kind of trying to slow down the advance of his king. There's a check here with my rook, and there was a check with the pawn. Pawn to f5 was a check on his king. So knight here, check, king, knight d5 check, king e6, knight c7 check, or back, would be just a repetition. Goes that way. Okay, so now I can check his king and drive it back. And I think that's a good idea. Okay, can I do anything to his knight here? I can take this square away from the knight, but the knight has these squares over here that are probably okay. Yeah, he's going for that. That's annoying. So is he going into this endgame? And do I have a good way to prevent that? Probably bringing my king over is the best way to deal with that. Keep the rook on. He's going to give me a pawn weakness here. But I didn't want to trade rooks in this situation, maybe end up in a worse endgame. So what can he do with his king? Can he activate that king in any way? I don't see it. Maybe I shouldn't have played the king there. That does let him pin and exchange rooks if he's gone for that king and pawn endgame. That may be his plan. So maybe he's trying to calculate. If he plays his rook there, I would take it rather than letting him take. Is that right? I might let him take, actually, because that would give me a passed pawn. But my passed pawn would be in the center, and he could create one on the side, which would be more dangerous. So, okay, so he's just looking to improve his position. I was going to say, after the exchange, then I could step forward with my king and maybe get to that square on f3. So let's think about this now. Rook here, I take it, he takes, I step forward. He's got me blocked out of these squares, so he's not making any progress over here. Let's see, if I push my pawn forward, he takes, I take. He takes, I take. That should be good for me. So I push my pawn forward, and he brings his rook here. And I would take. I think, yeah, this is a good time to do this. Need to break up those weak pawns and to create some weaknesses on his part to keep this game in balance. So let's see. Yeah, he goes that way. So what I was thinking here was I take. And then I take. And now I can choose either side. If I go to this side, I think he has to come over here and defend. If he tries to run all the way around here, I will queen first. So if I try to, the same way with me, if I try to run over here and gather all these pawns, he can probably win that one. Let's step over here. And see where he wants to go. He steps forward. Okay. I go here. I'm just going to sit here. I don't think I have a way to win this. Unless he pushes his pawn and lets me take it. So my job is to prevent him from pushing that pawn. So I want to stay in these two squares. And his job is to prevent me, or to drive me away, but I don't think he can. So I'm going to go here whenever he does that and drop back. And just repeat like that. Just be in a position whenever he takes. So that was a draw. Anyway, it was a well-played game, I thought. We'll take a look at that. See you guys later. Bye.